and Hill, he showed the most marked distrust of the latter. Yet, according to Hill, he suddenly abandons this attitude for one of trusting credulity, meekly accepting the assurance of the man he distrusts that Sir Horace Fewbanks' unexpected return from Scotland on the very night the burglary is to be committed is not a trap to catch him, but a coincidence. Then, after drinking himself nearly blind, he sets forth with a revolver to commit a burglary on the house of the judge who tried him, on Hill's bare word that everything is all right. Guileless, trusting, simple-minded Birchill. Hill is left locked up in the flat with the girl, for Birchill, who has just trusted him implicitly in a far more important matter affecting his own liberty, has a belated sense of caution about trusting his unworthy accomplice while he is away committing the burglary. The time goes on. The couple in the flat hear the clock strike 12 before Birchill's returning footsteps are heard. He enters and immediately announces to Hill and the girl, with every symptom of strongly marked terror, that while on his burglary mission he has come across the dead body of Sir Horace Fewbanks, murdered in his own house. Mark that, he tells them freely and openly, tells Hill as soon as he gets in the flat. Allowing for the possible defects in my previous reasoning against Hill's story, admitting that an adroit prosecution counsel may be able to buttress up some of the weak points, allowing that you may have other circumstantial evidence supporting your case, that is the fatal flaw in your chain. Because of Birchill's statement on his return to the flat, no jury in the world ought to convict him." "I don't see why," said Rolfe. Crewe fixed his deep eyes intently on Rolfe as he replied, "Because if Birchill had committed this murder he would never have admitted immediately on his returning, least of all to Hill, anything about the dead body." "But he told Hill that he didn't commit the murder," protested Rolfe. "But you say that he did commit the murder," retorted the detective. "You cannot use that piece of evidence in both ways. Your case is that this man Birchill, while visiting Riversbrook to commit a burglary which he and Hill arranged, encountered Sir Horace Fewbanks and murdered him. I say that his admission to Hill on his return to the flat that he had come across the body of Sir Horace Fewbanks is proof that Birchill did not commit the murder. No murderer would make such a damning admission, least of all to a man he didn't trust, to a man who he believed was capable of entrapping him. Next you have Birchill consenting to a message being sent to Scotland Yard conveying the information that Sir Horace had been murdered. Is that the action of a guilty man? Wouldn't it have been more to his interest to leave the dead man's body undiscovered in the empty house and bolt from the country? It might have remained a week or more before being discovered. True, he would have had to find some way of silencing Hill while he got away from the country. He might have had to resort to the crude method of tying Hill up, gagging him and leaving him in the flat. But even that would have been better than to inform the police immediately of the murder and place his life at the mercy of Hill, whom he distrusted. Looked at your way, I admit that there are some weak points in our case," said Rolfe. "But you'll find that our counsel will be able to answer most of them in his addresses to the jury. If Birchill didn't commit the murder, who did? Do you deny that he went up to Riversbrook that night?" "The letter sent to Scotland Yard shows that someone was there besides the murderer. If Birchill was there and helped to write the letter, and so much is part of your case, he wasn't the murderer. In short, I believe Birchill went up there to commit a burglary and found the murdered body of Sir Horace." "Do you think that Hill did it?" asked Rolfe. "That is more than I'd like to say. As a matter of fact, I have been so obtuse as to neglect Hill somewhat in my investigations. In fact, I didn't know until I got hold of a copy of his statement to the police that he was an ex-convict. Inspector Chippenfield omitted to inform me of the fact." "I didn't know that," said Rolfe without a blush as he rose to go. "He ought to have told you." End of chapter 14 of The Hampstead Mystery by John Watson and Arthur Rees. Read by Lars Rolander.